Good evening. Today is July 16th. It is 7 p.m. for those of you in the Central Time Zone. My name is Nathan Polsky. I am the Libertarian Party of Texas Campaign Support Director. Today we have with us Anthony Cristo. He is running for Texas Lieutenant Governor. A little bit more important than Lieutenant Governor in some other states, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Co-hosting tonight is going to be Kenneth Fegans. He is with our comms department. Just like normal, if you are following along on X, Facebook, or YouTube, feel free to drop any comments, questions into the chat during the show. And towards the end, if we still have time, we'll throw some things at Anthony and see how he responds to on-the-fly questions. So before we spend too much long staring at this face, let's get into it.
How you doing, Kenneth?
Howdy.
How you doing, Nathan?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on your show.
Glad you can be here. I know we've got a lot of candidates. Great to see as many of them as we can on here. And yeah. So let's see here. Let's start by, like I mentioned in the little intro, the Lieutenant Governor is a little bit different in Texas. So I'm just going to kick it off right. So most Texans don't realize how powerful the Lieutenant Governor is. How would you use that office differently from the major parties?
Well, unlike other states where Lieutenant Governor is just a title, where it's more of a kind of like a token title, and they don't do anything except wait until the governor is incapacitated, then they step up. The Lieutenant Governor of Texas is actually the president of the Texas Senate. So what that entails is me overseeing the daily operations while Congress is in session. I will be the one that sets up the docket to organize what bills get produced on the presented on the floor. I get to decide what order they get presented in, and also I get to weigh in on some of those decision-making process as the Senate delegates start debating each other. So I would basically be overseeing their debate and process of carrying out this order. What makes me different, though, from either Republicans or Democrats is that I don't have an agenda for the party. If you have Republicans right now, they control the Senate, and they're basically force passaging whatever Republican agenda that they want. Democrats, if they're in power, they will force passage any type of legislation that they would want. As a libertarian, I want to do what's best for Texas. And what's best for Texas is letting the government out of our lives and letting you, the Texan, decide how best to run your life. And so long as you're not depriving others of life, liberty, or property, you should be allowed to live your life as you seem fit. So that's what makes me different, is I'm looking out more for the Texans than necessarily party agendas.
Yeah, so we can usually assume that if whoever the Republican nominee is, whoever wins the primaries, it doesn't matter what they say their platform is. They're just going to push through whatever GOP stuff they have lined up. Same thing with the Democrats. So not having to worry about the libertarian or parties. Here's our platform that we want to push through the Senate or through the House or whatever. That's definitely a one-up that we have that they don't have.
Yeah, and also the Lieutenant Governor, he's the one that picks the chairs and vice chairs of every committee. Right now, there's 15 standing committees that the Lieutenant Governor appoints people to, and there are 6 people for every committee. Right now, I'm pretty sure that they're all loaded heavily with Republicans, and the problem with that is that they're talking to each other in an echo chamber. They're not actually discussing the differences, the nuances. If I was Lieutenant Governor, since we don't have any libertarians currently in office, I would allocate the seating as far as the committees. I'd appoint 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats. That way they can hash out all their differences in committee before it gets to the Senate. And then that way we can have more smoother, more productive, less fighting among each other on the Senate floor. It'll be hashed out in committee. Any differences and idiosyncrasies that may be hurdles to each other's goal, or who may be trying to pork barrel, the whole thing. They can hash that out in committee first before it gets to the Senate floor.
Yeah, I think we saw this past session. Um, Democrats were being made committee chairs, and the Republicans were absolutely losing it. So that's just with one person on the committee. Imagine splitting it, 50-50.
Mm-hmm. And to me, I think it's more equitable that way. And again, I would pick the persons that I think are best suited for those particular committees. Like if it's for the education committee, I'd make sure it's someone that has experience with education, not just someone who has kids in the schools, but someone who's actually been in the classroom and knows firsthand what needs to be, what these teachers, what these schools need. Also, like if there's any finance committees, I'd make sure that there's someone who's knowledgeable in finance. I would best definitely look, regardless of party affiliation, who the best candidates are. But I still would like to make it an even distribution, regardless of how qualified people are. I want to make sure that they're qualified and that it's evenly distributed.
I can live with that. All right. Let's move on here to question number 2. We'll toss this one over to Kenneth.
Alrighty. So, as president of the Texas Senate, what bills would you prioritize first to reduce the size, cost, and power of state government?
Well, what I envision is to reduce currently right now there's a $24 billion surplus that the Texas budget has. It was 33 billion the last time that they had Congress, so spending has increased. The only thing that I can see about cutting, though, is you could still cut more, and all it would cost is a nickel. And what I mean by that is 5% of every department's budget. Just cut it by 5%. 5%, if you have $1, you go to the store, you can buy so much. If you go to the store with 95 cents, you could pretty much get by with that. Anything more than that, it's kind of runs iffy. But I'm of course I'm going off the back when the dollar could buy something. But that's the general idea: is that cutting budgets across the board by 5% would be a good start. And again, looking through these in committees, seeing where we can make cuts. That's definitely something that I would look forward to, and the things that I would put forth first. The other thing that I would do, and it's something that I've been questioned about, is put forth a marijuana decriminalization bill. Make that one of the top priorities. I think Dan Patrick is going backwards in our cannabis legalization. And I know this is a very anti-libertarian thing to say, but the sales tax revenue alone is justifiable for that. For recreational use, it's been estimated that it can generate anywhere from 400 million to 1.1 billion dollars into the Texas economy. And again, I know taxation is theft, and I agree with that. But realistically, there's going to have to be some type of sales tax if we do decriminalize and legalize marijuana in this state.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people don't realize the mountain of cash that our state is currently sitting on,
Mm-hmm.
especially in that rainy day fund. I mean, even for instance, Hurricane Harvey, which is the most costly disaster we've ever had in Texas, it really didn't even cost Texas anywhere near the amount that we've got in our rainy day fund. Even though it cost 125 billion in total damage, last I remember the numbers were something like $5-6 billion is all the state ended up paying. So, the question is why do we have so much in that rainy day fund, and why is that not going to help the taxpayer?
Yeah, it definitely would alleviate the taxpayers because, like you said, having that much money in there says a couple of things. One, that we're being taxed too much. That there's too much money coming out of our paychecks and going into state coffers for various purposes. Property taxes alone could be whittled out significantly, if not eliminated entirely, if we just quit spending so much money and stop taxing us with so much. Texas has I believe it's the eighth largest economy in the world. We actually rank higher than Russia as far as our gross domestic product versus Russia's gross national product. So we definitely have a lot of money available here in Texas, but it's not how much money you have, it's how well you spend it that counts. And if you spend it wisely, if you spend it smartly, if you're very fiscally responsible with it, then you won't have to tax people so much and people can keep more of their money and decide how best to put it back into the economy and not necessarily have it sitting in a rainy day fund, uh, with that no one's, can use that $24 billion could easily be stimulating the economy even further now, but it's not. It's just sitting there, like you said, in the rainy day fund. And luckily, we haven't needed to use it yet, but and it is nice to have. But then again, also keeping us our tax burdens low is also very important as well.
Yeah. Speaking of property taxes, let's kick over here to our next question. Property taxes remain a major concern across Texas. What reforms would you push to give Texans lasting relief instead of temporary buydowns?
Well, the thing is with property taxes is anytime someone says they're going to lower property taxes, and they even if they do, all of a sudden their home value shoots up, and it's commensurate to what was money that was lost. So all of a sudden, if you have a $200,000 home, and they cut the property taxes, then all of a sudden next year it's 225, where it's $225,000. Did that somehow build up $225,000 in equity? No, they just the state or county rather appraises it at a higher value so they can get more tax money off of what they would initially would have lost. Eliminating it entirely is ideal. That is the ideal situation because there's no reason why you should be paying rent to the state and risk foreclosure or losing your house because you didn't pay your property taxes. It's definitely not something as a homeowner myself, I think is not fair. And there are other ways and other means that we could do it. In fact, most of our tax income comes in through sales tax, which is currently at doing most of the revenue generation. So the property taxes alone, especially with prices going up, it's just going to be generating more revenue in through sales tax, and you can possibly eliminate property tax down the line, if not right now.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of voters or just individuals don't really understand about property taxes. And we talked about this earlier this week, and we probably talked about it in a couple other interviews. Is that you're right? You lower the property taxes. Let's say you lower the property taxes 2%, 5%, whatever it is across the board. The county appraisal districts come in there and they say, well, all the appraisals just went up 20%. So they've more than made up for it. And if you're lucky enough to be homesteaded, you're capped at a 10% increase in your payments. If you're not homesteaded, if you're a business, if you are an ag of some sort, you're facing the full brunt of that. So yeah, we can say we're going to lower property taxes, but as long as those exist, they're going to find a way to gouge you.
Yeah. What I find it ironic is that one of the big things politicians push for is solve the homelessness crisis. We want to make sure everyone has a home, but then they go around and say, well, you didn't pay your property taxes, so we're taking your home away from you and making you homeless, thereby creating the need for the campaign promise that they're putting forward again the following year. So property taxes alone, it's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, because it's tight. You have to tighten your belts, or cut costs wherever in other areas as needed. And if you don't do it, you lose your house. So, and then you wind up being a statistic, being one of the unhoused people that are out there, unfortunately, in
Hmm.
streets.
Yeah, and another thing too, also on that topic, a lot of people don't realize that renters, they still pay property tax,
Hmm.
but they pay it through their landlord, because the landlord's just going to pass that through pretty much as an operating expense.
Yep.
And landlords don't get any type of homestead or anything. So, right back what you were talking about, Nathan, if the property tax goes up 20%, that goes straight to the landlord, and the landlord has to pass that straight down to the tenants. And next thing you know, everybody, in that sector is paying significantly more just because of whatever's happening within market forces.
Yep.
And, those are probably your most vulnerable people, when you go through and you look at, how are property taxes impacting people.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is paid in through rent. And there's been people on the far left side that said, well, if there's no improvements on the property, then the rent shouldn't go up. And it's like, well, tell that to your politician who's raising property taxes, or who's falsely inflating the value of the house so that they can collect more property taxes from you. That is, like you said, Kenneth, one of the main things that's causing rent prices to go up, because my mortgage stays about the same, but of course property taxes affect it every once in a while.
Hmm.
I'd love to see a situation where um, the appraised value, the taxable appraised value is locked in when a home is sold or a property is sold. Whatever the value of it was being sold for, that's what you're taxed on as the value for eternity, unless it appraises lower, then you reduce it, of course. But that would prevent runaway appraisal districts from just raising you year over year and raising your taxes. Whatever you got it for, that's what you're paying taxes on.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kick this back over to Kenneth for our next one.
All right. The lieutenant governor helps shape the state budget. What spending, subsidies, or programs would you target first for cuts or serious reform?
Well, like I said, right across the board, cutting it by 5% is going to help quite a bit if we do it from all departments. The other process, and I didn't get to mention, is eliminating some of these unnecessary uh, departments that we have. There's the Texas Agricultural Department, there's the U.S., then there's the Federal Agricultural Department. They're both doing the same job. It's like, why do we have federal and the state organization doing the same exact job? It should, it should just be on a state level. But the federal government always feels the need to step in and do something else, do double indemnity. So there's a lot of things that are being doubled over with federal programs. I definitely would see about either consolidating or eliminating some of those departments that maybe have overlap. That way, they won't be necessary. So therefore, they won't need a budget, as opposed to just eliminating 5% off the top. They won't have a budget to begin with because it will be dissolved. Again, that would require something from the Senate, something to be discussed through committees. And finance committee would be the main one that looks over that, and we could definitely see about eliminating any unnecessary departments, because as most libertarians know, a lot of our government is unnecessary. Not that I'm promoting anarchy in any way, but there are a lot of redundancies within our government that need to be rooted out and eliminated.
Yeah, getting rid of some of those departments that are doing the same thing. I, I don't even know how those got in there. Obviously, somebody wanted a paycheck.
Mhm.
All right. So speaking of Senate committee assignments or committees, How would you use Senate committee assignments and hearings to increase transparency, expose waste, and hold state agencies accountable?
Well, I definitely believe that there, like anytime, like when Thomas Massey held up redacted files, there shouldn't be redaction. It should be open and honest. Uh, Everything that the state does should be open and honest. Anything the federal government does should be open and available to the public. There's nothing top secret going on in the state government that requires national that's going to compromise national security. So to increase transparency, uh, I know that uh, I would have the committees themselves post with their findings and of course a budget that's available online for anyone, and whether they're Texan or not, to look at and go through for themselves. One of the things that I taught my debate students was to look for the Inspector General reports at the federal level. The Inspector General reports were unbiased reviews of different things, and we discovered there was a lot of military operations going on that we weren't unaware of at the time. And then, of course, you read the Inspector General reports, you find out that they're double paying or triple paying some of these contractors, and it says it clear as crystal right there in the report. But of course, it doesn't make the news. It doesn't get broadcast out. It's not talked about in political circles, but it is available. So I definitely would make sure that we have something similar where the transparency of the government is available for anyone and all. And if you want to bring it to someone's attention, by all means, bring it to someone's attention. The only way you can fix something is if you know it's broken to begin with. So I would encourage anyone to review any of those documents and make sure that we're doing it. Hold us accountable. Make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to, and we're not, uh, you know, trying to hide where money's going or somehow, failing an audit. Just make sure that it's available to anyone at any time, either a PDF or, if even in the libraries, if in case you don't have internet, which I think everyone does now, they just have them available in libraries or even available to be mailed through the state office, however they want it. They should be allowed to be transparent and expose any waste that's going on in our state agencies.
Yeah. Anytime somebody has to submit a FOIA request, anytime somebody has to go and do a deep dive search to find something, that's too much. They shouldn't have to do that.
Mhm.
All right. That was question 5. All right. So next one's going to be Kenneth. And we do have a very active chat right now as well. So I see all of you commenting in there. We will get to it eventually. We've got one more question after this one. We're going to skip the last one we had prepared. It's already been discussed ad nauseum. So we'll get to some of those questions you guys have in the chat.
All right. So this question is where should Texas protect local control, and where should the state step in when local governments violate individual rights or property rights?
Well, ultimately, the state government should be as hands off as much as possible. Let counties, municipalities, let them decide how best, like if, in regards to like data centers or whatever type of program they have, make sure that they have feasibility, accountabilities. That should be the responsibility of the local governments at both the county and the municipal level. The only time the state government should step in is when there is caution brought to the attention through the constituents. I think recently there was a county, won't name which one, in which it seemed like one of the county members kind of like took some unscrupulous ways to get a data center admitted into it. So definitely have investigations going that way. Definitely have some type of route in which people can report any type of abuse or suspected abuse at the local levels to the state, and then have state investigators look into it from there, and then proceed from there. But ultimately, I think the local government should have more control than the state governments over various things that go on, because they know the area better than people in Austin. And unless their representative knows it fairly well and can bring it some credibility to it on the Senate floor, then by all means, definitely the people should. If that's not being done, they should definitely go directly to their sources and appeal it to the Senate or the members of Congress in the House to get that done.
All right. Let's see here. So we've got one more question we'll do for our prearranged, and then we'll go to the chat. If you are following along on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, on any of those platforms, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to drop them into the chat. I see them. Like I said, it's pretty active right now, and we will get to some of these. Some of them we've discussed a little bit, just want some people looking for some clarification, and some haven't been discussed yet. So those will be good ones. All right. So last question I've got here. This one's near and dear to my heart, and I think a lot of people's hearts right now. What limits should Texas place on surveillance tools, license plate readers, data sharing, and asset forfeiture to protect innocent Texans?
Well, those things shouldn't even be in existence. It's a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment, where it's unlawful in that you should be allowed, unless there's reasonable cause to do that. And as Benjamin Franklin said, those who would sacrifice their freedom in order for a little security deserve neither of them. And I get the reason why people want surveillance tools. I understand the reasoning behind it, but it's still a violation of your rights. License plate readers, how accurate are those things? I mean, they could be fairly accurate, but at the same time, who's to say who's driving it? Who's driving the car? Who's driving the vehicles? Not necessarily the person that owns it. Sometimes I'd loan my vehicle to a friend. When I had a truck, I'd loan my truck to a buddy to go move a refrigerator or something. You never know who's driving the vehicle in which these license plate readers are going through. As far as data sharing, they don't need to know the comings and goings of where you're going. How many times I go to HEB during the week? How many times do I go to my job during the week? What is my time schedule? What route do I take to get there? That's something that's unnecessarily that's shouldn't even be collected, much less shared among others or shared for profit, which I believe is what they're trying to do. As far as civil asset forfeiture, there shouldn't be any of that either. It's kind of like when a billionaire lies about his net profits and then embezzles billions of dollars. He doesn't surrender those billions of dollars he just embezzled. So in fact, they can use that money that they just stole to pay for their legal team. So civil asset forfeiture is another farce where it's focused more on people that the have-nots than it is for the haves, and that's something that will also protect the innocent Texans because you're innocent until proven guilty, plain and simple, and that is something that is paramount within our not only the state, but on the federal level. You're innocent until proven guilty. And that's the way it should be.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way that civil asset forfeiture works, it works in reverse. Your property is guilty until it can prove itself innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to pay an arm and a leg just to get it back.
Yep.
All right. So that's going to be it for those questions. Let's move over here to the chat real quick. All right. First thing, we've got Isaac. He just wanted to give a quick shout out. Hello, Anthony from Rio Grande Valley.
Hi, Isaac.
All right, Kenneth. We'll have you do this one. This one's from Susan Barney.
All right. So Susan Barney was asking, what would you do to move Texas past a limited voucher system and actually find students and not the system? I think this is really touching on our interesting implementation of the voucher system that we currently did in this last legislature.
Yeah. Uh, Really, as a school teacher, I can say without a doubt, um, my school district alone had to close 4 schools because it's underfunded. And the state is actually requiring school districts to do mandatory things and not allocating the funds for it. So you have that issue. They had to close a middle school. They had to close 3 elementary schools. Granted, it was necessary to close those. They were operating at about 54%. And so there was a need to consolidate those schools down. Uh, but at the same time, you're having kids, special needs kids in particular, that aren't getting the funding that they require to get the paraprofessionals that they require, that are required by law to have. They have to have a monitor teacher at all times. A lot of times in their classes, they have to have a co-teacher. So there's 2 teachers, one to help with the special needs kids, one to help with the regular do the regular students, and it's a lot that they're asking. So definitely, the voucher system that was proposed, I believe, was going to offer $10,000 to private schools, private and charter schools, and only 6,000 something for public schools. That's that's not exactly finding, working in the best interest of the students. We haven't seen an increase in the allotment per child in public schools since 2019. It's been the same since 2019. And what we need to do is find out, well, first of all, accommodate for the 30% increase in inflation that we've had since 2019, and figure out how best we can fund these schools without, again, giving them too much money to where they did during COVID. During the pandemic, they received all these federal funds, and they didn't. They were told it was for a limited time, but they didn't have an exit strategy once those funds ended. So we need to make sure that the students are getting the type of education that they need. They're getting the funding that's required to help them succeed in school. And one of the things that I would like to do is in the lieutenant governor appoints an education committee and a finance committee. I would use those two in conjunction with each other to figure out a solution, because it's not just the school district I work for. There's school districts all over the state that are operating at tens of millions of dollars in loss right now. So we need to get that fixed, and get it fixed right away, because our child's educations come first. And right now we're ranked 29th in the nation as far as public school education for grade school and high school students.
Yeah, no, I forget the exact number of families that registered for the current voucher system or the ESA or whatever Texas is implementing, and 25% of them actually managed to get into it. So it's still a huge number of families that are stuck in a failing system.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move over to this one on our YouTube side. Johanan, I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I butchered it. Says, I'm a police officer. Qualified immunity is a double-edged sword. What's your take on that?
Well, I think recently, with the innocent person being shot and killed by ICE up in Maine, that there is a need for more thorough training of police officers. I know that's not an indication of all police officers. I do know police officers, and I'd say 90% of them are stand up, guys and gals that do their job and do their job well. It's those ones that make the news that make the rest look bad. We need to make sure that we have a very thorough vetting process and a very thorough training process before these people are going out and protecting and serving rather than enforcing and shackling. Uh, so qualified immunity is a double-edged sword because, like I said, you are innocent until proven guilty. At the same time, are there some lousy cops? Yes, just like there are some lousy teachers, just like there are some lousy politicians. There's lousy people in everyone. Those are the ones that need to be weeded out. But qualified immunity, it should not be a blanket shield for everyone because, like I said, there are some people that have failed as far as doing their job correctly, and that's when. And I understand it is a stressful job, but it's one of those things that you're dealing with people's rights and you're dealing with people's lives. So yes, it's going to be stressful, but you should also have more accountability and more thorough training to make sure that those rights and those lives are protected.
Yeah, accountability is key. If they don't have to be held accountable, then that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. And there's been quite a few states that here within the last, several years have actually gone through and either have abolished qualified immunity or they've narrowly scoped it. Some of them, are even talking about requiring some level of like professional liability insurance, no different than if you were a doctor or somebody else. So, I mean, there's a lot of discussion, on the national stage, where does qualified immunity fit, or have we kind of outlived it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Let's move over to another one. See lots of questions on YouTube. We have people on X. I know people are watching on X. I know we got people on Facebook. So be sure to drop your questions there. Let's see. Next one over to Kenneth.
All right. So this is coming from Connor. He's asking, you said that committee chairs should be one evenly split and two chosen from most qualified individuals. In cases where both cannot be achieved simultaneously, which one would you prioritize?
Well, since it is a 3-3 split, it is, but I will definitely answer that question. I would prioritize qualified people over keeping it fairly balanced. If there's not enough qualified people, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of having a committee in the first place. So yes, they would definitely. I would prioritize being qualified more so than being of a particular party.
All right. I always prefer qualified people over just filling a hole because we got to get another Republican in there. We got to get another Democrat in there
Got
because
a kidney
heaven
stone to
forbid.
remove.
I mean, what happens? What happens when we get a libertarian in the Senate, and now you can't do an even 3-3? You're gonna have to have a 3-2-1 of some sort. So, yeah.
And God willing, that will happen someday. God willing, that will happen
That
someday.
one libertarian is going to end up on every single committee because we have to have equal representation.
I'll take it.
I feel, I would love to see a libertarian in the Senate, but I feel bad for that libertarian when they end up on every committee. All right. Let's see here. Moving over to, here we go. Another one from Connor. Would you support replacing government appraisers with independent third-party ones from private businesses in an effort to prevent artificial home value spikes? So this is talking about the county appraisal districts. It's an elected position. Well, the county appraiser is an elected position. There are some staff there, hired staff. But yeah, what's your take on that one?
Well, that is an excellent question because you can get 3 realtors looking at a house, and they'll give you 3 different appraisals as to what the house should sell for or what it's worth. So that's interesting in and of itself. I know that you can appeal the decision of the county appraisers, but um, as far as allocating a private private entity to it, that's actually a pretty good idea. I think in maybe having it contracted to private companies is could be a solution rather than having the state doing it, because uh, if the state does it, then the state interest is in itself and getting more money to it, whereas an independent person would see it as, this is my job, I need to get this done, and I need to get it done accurately. Uh, so yes, I could definitely see that possibly third parties or private businesses being the ones doing the appraising instead of having the county appraisers do it.
And if we're going full third party private businesses doing that, then now you've got a competition for appraisers. And so when you're going to buy a house and you're filing for your taxes, you're going with the appraiser that's giving you the lowest value for your home. And when you go to sell your home, you're finding the appraiser who's going to get after the highest value of your home because the market demands it.
Yep. Go to market demand.
All right. I've got one. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's going to be it from the questions in the chat. I did have Johanan said, yes, nailed on the pronunciation. Yay. You're welcome on that one. All right. So, Kenneth, do you have anything else you wanted to toss towards Anthony before we start wrapping it up here?
No, I do not.
All right. Anthony, tell us more about your campaign. How can people reach out to you? How can people donate to you? Do you have any upcoming events planned?
Thank you. Yeah. If anyone's curious about what my platform is, they could go to anthonycristo.com. And that is my campaign website. You can also make a campaign contribution in the lower left-hand corner of it. It's not tax deductible, unfortunately, but there are some things that I have to meet for the Federal Elections Committee to make sure that everything's above the board and transparent. In fact, just the 15th was recently the last most recent filing deadline for our campaign finance report. You could look that up online. You'll see that I don't have a lot of campaign contributions. It's been mostly funded through myself, but that's because I believe in myself. I genuinely feel that I am the best candidate for this job. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running. Um, and I really think it's time we get someone who's not Republican, who's not a Democrat, in the office that is going to look out and do what's best for Texans. Uh, as far as events coming up, next Thursday I will be at the NRA banquet in Gonzales, Texas. That's closed to the public, but the next public event I have is the North Texas Libertarian Cookout. It's going to be at on Sunday, August the 9th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Mike Lewis Park, their big pavilion in Grand Prairie, Texas. And that so far is my schedule that's coming up for events. If you'd like to meet me out there, great. I'd love to hear you. I love brisket. So definitely have a brisket and a brew before with your hopefully future lieutenant governor.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you, Anthony, for coming on. It's letting everybody know what your campaign is, talking about what you can do if you win, you win. There's no ifs here, it's win. And thank you, Kenneth, for hopping on and co-hosting tonight. Any last things before we call it?
No,
Yep.
just
Everybody, I would encourage you very strongly to hit that like button, share these videos out there, because that helps expand the reach, that gets the message out there. Also, next Thursday on the 23rd, we will have Austin Kelly. And then also on the 28th, we will have Justin Gonzalez.
All right. Well, thank you both. Y'all have a great night.
thank you, Nathan.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Kenneth.